Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Casey, and that is my service dog Elsa, and today we're going to be talking about Elsa's first flight. You guys really enjoyed kind of looking at some old footage of Disneyland, so and of course I know that's Disneyland, but this is some old footage I have from 2016, 2017. I can't remember when we took this flight. Elsa was about 2 years old, so she was really young. Now she's like 6.5, I think, if I'm counting right. So, or maybe even 7. Gosh, I can't do math in my head, so I'll do it later. Or I'll put down the screen down here. Anyway, so we're going to be taking a look at some old footage, and I'm going to kind of walk you through what I did for my first flight, and I hope this will help you on your first flight. Do note a lot of rules have changed, and I'll probably touch on them, but I will be doing an update video for that because we are going to be taking a trip at the beginning of next month in just a couple weeks. We're going to talk about her first flight. So her first flight, we flew from California to Georgia. And going there, we had a layover in Dallas, Texas. We had a 45-minute overlay. Definitely not enough. Get a longer overlay. And it just happened, of course, that in Dallas, Texas, we were going from one side of the airport to the other. And it's a huge airport if you've never been. So really didn't have a chance to let her go potty, which I really wanted to do. And coming back, it was all the way through. So it was a very, very long flight. So it was just me and my mom and Elsa. And so we had one large checked bag. So we checked one bag. And then I had a couple different bags. I have a photo I'll throw in. I had a couple different checked bags. I had like a fanny pack, I think, if I remember right. And I had a sling bag, or like a mini duffel bag kind of thing, like a mini tactical deployment bag. I got this like specifically for this trip, and it worked and it didn't. The biggest thing with this bag, like, it's a nice size and everything, but the opening really sucks. So it's really hard to get stuff in and out unless you're just putting like big bulky items like a dog jacket or whatever. Now, obviously, this was my first trip with a service dog, so don't take this as, like, the perfect thing. But I want to kind of walk you through it and let you know what worked and what didn't. And you'll see this reflected when I do my video on flying again in a couple weeks, what I'm actually going to continue to take. Okay, so first let's go ahead and go through my carry-on items that I brought last time. And I'll kind of go over the slight changes I'm making this time. So first off, notepad pen, definitely a must-have for me. Definitely a time passer. Also, I like to draw and stuff, so definitely bringing that again. Notepad and pen's also really great for taking notes if you have an access dispute and just no one's listening to you. Best thing is, especially if you have any kind of anxiety like me, take down the person's name, situation, time, where you are, who you spoke to, what was the issue. And just get out there. Get out there, calm down, and either call or email corporate for the person that you're talking to try to resolve that issue is the best thing to do. So that's my game plan always. Luckily, I haven't used it really. I used it once at like a fast food restaurant. But yes, notepad and pen, definitely a must-have for me. Yes, you can use your phone for this, but I like notepad, pen, plain simple. Okay, next we have poop bags. Always bring tons of poop bags. You can use these for a lot of different situations. I think I brought actually like 2 whole rolls. Definitely will do again. Definitely always bring more than you need. I always bring a full roll more than I think I need. So I think I brought like 4 rolls on this entire trip, maybe even 5. So definitely poop bags. You can use them for a ton of things, like I said. TSA friendly leash and collar and tag. So I actually had like a plastic set I made, so no metal. I personally went ahead and undressed my service dog before going to the metal detector. You don't need to do this. I think it makes it easier because for TSA that they see that you took everything off. They can scan it through the scanner thing. and I think they feel better about it. Legally, you don't have to take it off. So if you don't want to, don't take it off. I think the rule is just if your dog sets off the metal detector, the TSA person has to pat down the dog. So I didn't want to have to deal with that. I think Elsa was going through some stranger danger sightness through this, so I think that was one of the ways I just avoided it. She doesn't really have a problem now anymore, now that she's older. I think she was in a little bit of a fear stage. They tend to have very long fear stages, if you know anything about border collies. So I may or may not do this again. For me, it's really easy just to take the gear off, let her go through the metal detector and everything. But yeah, you don't have to. I don't know if I'm going to or not. I'll probably have just a plain slip lead instead of having a plastic set. If I can find a picture of it, I will show you. I don't have that set anymore. Alright, next, a normal collar on leash, of course. I used her martingale, just her normal working collar at the time. I will probably be bringing her normal working collar now. I'll show you that in the other video, so definitely check that one out, my new video, for this new trip. So yeah, just your standard leash and collar. Can't remember what leash I was using. It might have been my bold lead design. I will definitely be using my bold lead design. Definitely my favorite leash so far. Now what I don't see on here, it may be under check bags, but always bring a backups collar and leash. And if you have like a TSA one, that can be your backup, so maybe that's what I did. Maybe that was my backup, was my TSA one. Okay, and then I had a ID tags, of course, all of our ID tags, and USB. So what I had did was I put like all of my medical information and all of Elsa's medical information history on a USB, and I carried that with me. Now I've heard that that's probably not the best idea because no one's going to put that into their computer to find information because the threat of viruses. So just have stuff on paper. You can have a USB if you want to carry your medical information around. I have since stopped using a USB, but I had already used it, or I should say carried it for several years. And it was kind of like a nice thing to have, but I never actually used it. I think paper still is the end-all be-all for that. Alright, so next I had a chew, specifically an antler chew. Now I honestly can't remember if I actually went out and bought an antler or not, because I can't remember using one. But I know I did not want to buy a bully stick. Elsa loves bully sticks. Bully sticks are great for your dog. I didn't want to use a bully stick to kind of entertain her on the flight because they can stink. And you're in an enclosed environment around other people, and the other people may not really like dogs. So just as a courtesy, personally, I did not want to use bully stick for that reason. Antlers don't have a smell to them, so that's why I was going to use them. Now they can be a little louder, but most people will put headphones on. Like I said, I don't even remember Elsa using one. I'm not even sure if I bought one. I may or may not get one for the trip. I honestly don't know if I even have one. But I think I have like a different bone. I might put like some peanut butter in it. Of course, antlers and hard bones are controversial, and I kind of go back and forth with giving her them. I also have a lime nub bone, I think is how you say it. Those are great. Definitely would recommend those. That might be actually what I'm going to bring because they don't really smell that bad. So I might bring that to give her a little bit of something to do on the plane. Okay, next I have potty pads. So I brought 2 small potty pads. I don't know if they still have them. I don't need to go get more for this trip because I still haven't used these, but I bring them a lot of places. I bring them to hotels, especially if someone else booked the hotel for me and I don't know what floor I'm going to be on. Because I have been pretty high up in the air a couple times, pretty high up. So I'll bring them kind of just in case, and I actually haven't had to use them, but I definitely will bring them again. At least for me, it kind of like, it's like a just in case item. It makes me feel better. But essentially, if you needed to potty your dog and there's not an area for them to go to the bathroom, you can put the potty pad down like in the restroom area. and tell the dog to go potty. Elsa's very good at going potty on command. All service dogs, I believe, should be really good at going potty on demand. If you guys want a video on that, let me know in the comments below. I definitely want to make a video on it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but let me know if you're interested, and I will try to move it up the ladder in my my video filming schedule. But yeah, so you put that down, you potty, tell them to go potty, and then you go fold it up and put it in the Ziploc, like a large gallon Ziploc, and that way it's sealed, and you can dispose of it whenever you have the chance. So that's my plan. I brought 2 just in case, 1 for each flight basically, and I didn't need to use them. Luckily, I did do the normal thing that everyone recommends, which is withdrawing food and water 24 hours before the flight, I think it is. Right, no, it's 12 hours, I think. I'll probably just do 8. She's pretty good at going potty on demand, so I'll probably withdraw a little bit just so she doesn't really have to go. And I'll just give her an opportunity in our layovers. Luckily, this time we will have a big enough layover that if she needs to go, we should be able to find the normal airplane potty spot for service animals. So that is the plan for that, but I definitely still will be bringing these, and I do recommend them. They're just kind of nice to have. You just fold up a potty pad, put it in a Ziploc, you could press all the air out, and they're really small and light. You could pack them anywhere, so definitely will bring in those again. Next I have my passport. I think this was in my summer camp video. I actually can't find it right now, but it's just a little passport cover. I made a little passport with all of her medical information, so really the USB that I was talking about earlier was kind of like just a duplicate of this. So definitely recommend the passport over a USB. Again, you can just flip through it and actually show people. And yeah, it was nothing official, just kind of copied in place. I like scanned her old medical records, shrunk them down, and then like paste them in there. I also had copies of the ADA law, the ACAA law, Air Carrier Access Act. Yeah. Which is actually the law that you're going to follow, not the ADA when flying. I also had copies of the airport policies taken right off the airline sites, and I will show you how to do that, because you always want to make sure that these are updated. And of course, all of mine are super old because they're from years ago. So later on in the video, I will show you how to do that. How I do that. Also, I had this health certificate. I don't know if I'm going to do this time. I knew it wasn't, like, it's not required, and I just did it back then just because it was the first time flying. I was just making sure I was covering all my bases. No one checked it. No one even mentioned it. And honestly, to get it, you just have to have a vet look at your dog. They don't do, like, blood samples or, like, stool samples or any kind of, like, tests. They just, like, yeah, your dog looks good, you know, they'll feel them, normal pat-down checkup, and then they just sign the paper. So may do it, may not do it. I'm still on the fence, going back and forth on that. Definitely, if you feel like you need to, you can do it. I'm not reading anything in the new laws that says you need to do it. So, and then of course I had a copy of vaccine records, and yeah, so that was all in that little passport, all in one place, easy to get to. It was in a side pocket, so I could pull it out. Definitely will be bringing that again with updated information. Then we had her vest. Definitely have a backup vest. Can't remember if I brought it. I don't think I brought it carried on with me. I think I may have brought it in the checked bag, but definitely leash, collar, vest. Always have a backup for those. Because you never know what's going to happen. Alright, next I had a travel mat. So travel mat's great. Obviously make sure it's clean, but it still smells like home, so it's kind of a nice place, especially if it's your dog's first time flying. Also a nice place to lay down. If they get cold, you can bring out a little bit larger blanket. Elsa doesn't really get cold, but airlines can be cold, so just a thought. I think I did also bring a coat. I think that's also on my thing. No, it's not. But I don't know. It wasn't too bad. Even though then at this first trip we were flying during November, so it was cold. I'm actually surprised I don't have I must have thrown it in last minute. But yeah, I'll probably bring a travel mat again. It was nice having it. Just be able to put it down. Also, kind of a courtesy thing, kind of helps control the dog hair. But yeah, pretty simple travel mat. Next, water bottle empty. I think pretty much anyone who flies knows to bring an empty water bottle. You have to have it empty to go through TSA, if you did not know. And then once you get through TSA, then you can fill it up. Okay, so the next thing I have on my list is Benadryl. I did bring a little bit. I think I did give her the half dose of Benadryl, and I brought the other half dose of Benadryl. Always make sure any medication you bring is clearly labeled. But I brought just to kind of like take the edge off, because this was a totally new place for her, and I didn't want her to be a little anxious. I wanted her to have a nice positive experience. And if you know border collies, they tend to be, that tends to be the first thing that they do, is they get a little anxious. So I gave her a little bit, I think before we got to the airport, just take the edge off, and honestly she was totally fine. I probably won't do that this time. I don't think I need to. She's plenty experienced now. And definitely going to Disney as much as we do, definitely pretty much prepared her for everything that could happen at the airport. So she did really well. I probably won't do that again, but I might bring it just in case. And then I brought next thing I brought a small bag of food. I actually brought only, I think, a couple days of food. Some of it was checked, some of it was in my carry-on, because I did plan on, because we were there like an entire week. I think they were there like 8 days. I did plan, once we got to our destination, to buy her food there, and then use it and then bring it back. That way we didn't have a whole bag of food in the check bag, making all of our clothes smell like dog food. So that was the idea, and it worked out pretty good. Definitely, if your dog has any kind of special diet, make sure that you can get it at your destination before you do that. But it did make it easier, especially because dog food can weigh a lot. So if you're going for a long time, kind of easier to pick it up there. And I just got a really small bag of dog food. This time I'm going only for 4 days on my new trip, so I don't think I'm going to be buying any there. I'll probably be packing all my dog food, but definitely make sure you have a couple extra meals on you in your carry-on. Also, I brought a small bag of treats. This is mainly what I planned to feed to my dog to make sure she wasn't super hungry out through the entire trip, but she also didn't have a ton of food where she really had to go until we were done with our trip. So, small bag of treats, definitely bringing that again. Okay, the last thing, I think this was the stuff that was in my little fanny pack. I have it kind of separated. So my ID, obviously, and wallet with my money and stuff. A phone charger, and my phone, and my glucose test kit, of course, with some glucose tabs. Alright, so that's it for my carry-on. So what I brought in my checked bag, so this is not stuff I had with me, but stuff I brought on the trip. So I brought my normal carry bag. So normally I bring like a small backpack, but it wasn't big enough for my carry-on bag, so I just packed that in my checked bag, and I kind of swapped stuff out once I got to my destination. Then I brought a coat for her because we were going in November. It was going to be kind of cold over there versus where we are normally in Southern California, so I brought her a coat. A cooling coat as well, just in case. I don't think I used this. Again, it was November, but you never know when you're going to a different climate how your dog's going to react. So, brought my cooling coat. I brought extra poop bags and her boots. Again, boots are a great thing to have. I didn't know what I was doing over there because we were visiting family. We did a couple of different things, so great to just have her boots with me just in case we needed them. I don't remember if we ever put them on, but I did have them just in case. Of course, socks for the boots, and then a toothpaste, toothbrush. That was mine and Elsa's, I think. Spare leash, and a long line. Long line, definitely going to be bringing again. My dog, I think even back then, was pretty much fully off-leash trained, but new environment, new laws, and everything. Just easier to put them on a long line to keep them safe if I needed to run her out, because I have a hive-dried breed. I need to be able to run her out. So I brought the long line, spare collar, ball. She loves her ball. Again, if I need to run her out, I have a ball. Soft toy, great for playing around inside the house or hotel, wherever you'll be staying. I stayed with family at this trip, so something soft that she can play with that does not have a squeaker. That way if you're in a hotel, they can still play with it and not make a ton of noise. Prong collar, I didn't actually, you can see from the video that this was actually on us during the flight. And no, TSA did not care that I had a prong collar. You can definitely bring a prong collar through security and they're fine with it. Paw cream, I brought some cream. Food bowl, of course. Some extra test kit stuff, so all your backup medical supplies. Brush to brush her out. Grooming wipes, I had just some easy grooming wipes to keep her clean. A towel, definitely will bring that again. Pet light, so a little light that you can clip onto her. I can't remember what I used, but definitely will bring those. Great for if you're going out at night, keep them lit. And then also my travel bowl, so it's kind of weird I have 2 bowls on here. Probably just need one. I'll bring my little travel cup with me, my little travel water cup, checked with me, and then I'll bring a normal food bowl. Don't know if I'll bring her slow feeder food bowl. I'll probably just bring her normal food bowl with us in the check bag. And then a food measuring cup, so I use this because we bought food there. So normally when I pack food, I will just pre-measure them and put them all in individual baggies. That way you don't need a measuring cup, you could just open a baggie and then dump it in. But since I was buying food there, I brought my measuring cup with me, a food bag, and food can lid. Buy food there. I don't remember feeding her canned food. So that kind of confuses me. But yeah, I bought food there, so I didn't bring any dog food. But I probably brought like a clipper or something to seal it with. Grooming spray, just some fragrance stuff to keep her fresh. And then I brought a crate. And I didn't bring a large crate. I just brought one of the soft foldable ones. They're like I think it was like $15 at Walmart. And this was because the reason we were going to visit family was one of my cousins was getting married. And she was not invited to the wedding. My dog was not invited to the wedding. So I'm like, that's totally fine. This is the first time my dog's out of state. She's newly finished her training. She's really young. It'd be great because it's right in the middle of our trip that she can just sit in the crate for the several hours that we were at the wedding and just kind of chillax. Because besides that, we were pretty much go, go, go. Everything was new for her, so it was a great relaxation point. Though for me personally, it made it really hard on me. I think it was fantastic for my dog. That was great to have a really big downtime in the middle of our trip. But for me, I had a really hard time with it. So I will not be doing that again. I will not be going to a wedding again where my dog is not invited. So, but it worked out, and that's why I brought a crate. I know a lot of people do bring crates. On the planes, you can box up. Originally, that was the idea, was to box up her metal or her wire folding crate, box it up, and check it because it's medical equipment, and you should be able to check it free onto the plane. You don't have to pay for it. I didn't want to bother with this. Also, very hard to bring a metal crate. Clumsy, how are you going to bring this ginormous thing? So, your dog needs a crate. If you can train them to use a fabric crate and just be able to fold that up and put that in your check bag, definitely recommend it. I don't think I'm going to bring her crate. Just she's so trained at this point. I don't think we need it. If I need to lock her in a room, I could lock her in a room and she's not going to fuss about it. But again, I don't plan on leaving her. I'm bringing my dog for a reason, and I need her with me the entire time. Okay, so now that we went over all the packing stuff, everything, now let's go over airline policy. So pretty simple to look up airline policy. If you just put in the airline name and then put service dog or service dog policy and then put the airline, you could generally look it up, and then it's pretty easy to just click like print page and print to PDF, and then or you could just print it out, and then that way you have a copied version of the updated or the current airline policy. That way if they're like, this is not your policy, you could say, no, this is off your website, here's the policy. I also on my phone had it opened like in the little tabs, so if you can't print it out, if it's like a last minute flight or anything like that, pull it up on their website, make sure it's on your phone. You could even screenshot it if you're afraid of losing internet or anything like that. That way it's just there and you can be prepared if someone asks you, and that way you don't have to get in a big argument or anything. It's like, this was on your site, this is your policy, right? So that's just a great thing to have. Definitely will be doing that again with all the airlines I'm flying. Last time we flight United and Delta. I think Delta was on the way back, if I remember right, and United was on the way there. Definitely liked United, or sorry, definitely liked Delta. I really wish I could have flown Delta again. But United was good too. We had a really good experience for our first flight. This next time we're going to be flying United and Frontier, and I don't think I've ever flown Frontier before, so we'll see how that goes. And okay, so the law back then when I did my first flight is you had to call at least 48 hours before. I'm not really seeing that anymore for the new policy, because the new policy or the new law, whatever, is you have to fill out this form and submit it. So we'll be going over that more in the new flight video, but what we had to do before was call at least 48 hours in advance and inform them that we had a service dog. And I think they like made a note on the ticket or something like that. I think I have a picture of the tickets I will show you. If not, I think they just put like a note, service animal or something like that. But yeah, so you just call at least 48 hours in advance. I think I did it like a week in advance, and yeah, it was pretty easy. They made a note. I think United actually just went ahead and upgraded us to bulkhead seating. Delta didn't have bulkhead seating available, but I think they still did upgrade us to some a seat that had a little bit more room. So I definitely, again, will be calling just in case, just to make sure. Also, I have some questions because we are currently still kind of in the pandemic right now. So there might be some changes to policy there, and I just want to double check everything. So I will probably, check out my new video. I'll link it up here when it's up, but it'll probably be a couple weeks on that upgraded. But I would at this point I would recommend calling just to check, make sure everything's good. So, and funny enough, with Delta, I was kind of weary that because we didn't get bulkhead seating, it was going to be really tight. Although I do have a small dog, I wasn't too worried about it. After flying bulkhead, I actually felt like there was less room in bulkhead than there was in the seats that Delta gave us. Because, like, not so much like this way, like across my legs, but like deep in. So the Delta had like more room underneath the seat in front of us, so Elsa was able to scoot in there and lay down. And it was like caged in, so the guy in front of us couldn't like shove their suitcase underneath us. It was actually like dedicated for like your foot space. So Elsa was able to sit, and so I think she was a lot more comfortable, and I think I had a lot more foot room too, more comfortable in the Delta flight than the United flight in bulkhead. So I thought that was kind of funny. So if you have a smaller dog, like not a Dane or something like that, where you really do need the across room, if you have a dog that's on the smaller side, maybe sub 45 pounds, if you can't get bulkhead, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Plus, dogs can shrink up pretty well. You'd be surprised how much they can shrink up into a little ball. Actually, this is Elsa's normal space she likes to sleep in the car that we were driving before. She's not really likes to sit on the seat. She likes to actually sit on the floor. I guess she feels safer and she'll curl up there. So yeah, and she was, I think, 30 pounds at the time. Now she's filled out a lot more, so she's like 32, 33 pounds. But she was pretty small. She could squish in there pretty easily. Alright, so I think the last thing that I did to prepare for the flight was actually look up maps of the airports online and tried to figure out ahead of time where the service dog potty areas are. Even though we didn't get to use them, especially in Dallas, we didn't get to use that one. And I know more and more potty areas, more and more airports have potty areas now. But definitely we'll be doing that again. So yeah, now on to the fun part, the actual flight. So we got there, I think, 2 hours earlier before our flight, so we can check in and everything like that. Also give Elsa a chance to go to the bathroom. The airport that we flew out of, actually their potty space was outside. So I want to say we went in and checked our bags, and then we went outside to their potty area, let her go, and then we went through security and waited for our flight. So it was pretty simple. A lot of people were not flying that day, so the airport wasn't too busy, which was nice. Can't remember what day we flew out of. But yeah, we would just kind of sit. I think we had something to eat, and then we kind of just sat and chilled at the airport until we were ready to board. So this is Elsa's first time boarding. As you can see, she was very intrigued by the crack jumping onto the plane. She stuck her head down there. I've heard other dogs have the same reaction, just because a lot of times like some fresh air or some wind will blow up from that crack. So it's very curious, but she did really well getting onto the plane, and then we settled down for a nice long trip. We did, because we had such a short layover, so I can't stress this enough, have a long layover if you're going to do a layover. I would say like an hour and a half to 2 hours. I think is what we shot for ours. The 45-minute was not enough. We actually couldn't even find the elevator. We didn't feel like we had enough time to find the elevator. So I actually ended up carrying her down the escalator, which was fun. But it's hard enough navigating the airport. And I totally thought 45 minutes was going to be enough time, and it was not. One cute thing that we did get this at, I think we got it at the when we got to our destination. We got her some little wings. I'm definitely going to be looking for these. I think it's a collection, so they have like each state. I'm going to try to look for these for our next trip. But I definitely wanted to get her something, some wings, for her very first trip, so that was really cute. So as far as takeoff and landings go, I know a lot of first-time flyers are really scared of this, how their dog's going to react. They typically don't react that much. Elsa didn't have that much of a reaction. She did stand up. I think the first two landings are definitely going to be more different. Taking off is not that hard. Landing's definitely the harder one, but definitely take the opportunity, have some treats, practice telling her to lay down, your dog to lay down, and as you take off, say good job, here's a treat. And then again, when you're ready to land, make sure you have those treats out, in a down, do some watch me's or look at me's, and then just treat for that. Do expect them to get up, don't correct them too harshly for it, just, reassure them, lay down, good lay down, there's a treat, and then they typically catch on very, very quick. Definitely don't have this be your first training with public transit. Definitely try to ride buses, or if you have access to Disneyland or other theme parks that the dogs can ride, definitely do that kind of stuff. We did a lot of rides with Elsa at Disneyland before this, so she was pretty accommodated to riding, and she's also done buses and trains and Disneyland rides, stuff like that. So, but just know, if your dog can ride on a city bus, then they could probably ride on a plane, no problem. They're not going to freak out. Just make sure to hold that settle and have some treats there for when you guys land. Give them a couple treats. But I know a lot of new handlers kind of freak out over that, and you don't have to freak out. You put the work into your dog and they will be totally fine. So if you have any more questions about flying with your service dog, do put them in the comments down below. I love to hear them so I can try to answer them on my upcoming trip next month. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and let me know. Also, be sure to check out these other videos linked on the side. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!